nearly 60% of the world's agricultural produce is harvested during the spring-summer season, making it one of the most explosive production periods on the planet, with a total trade value exceeding $2 trillion each year, where vast fields operate like giant biological production lines, constantly accelerating. So what enables these fields, in just a few short months, to generate over 6 billion tons of crops at such an extraordinary pace, despite harsh weather and natural risks? Today, join Agriculture Insight as we journey across vast farmlands around the world, where spring and summer awaken the full potential of the land. Discover how every sprout is timed with precision, harvested down to the hour, and transformed into exceptional output within a limited window of time. Let's begin. At the first stop, we arrive at asparagus, one of the fastest-growing crops of the spring-summer season. With global production exceeding 9 million tons and a market value of over $25 billion each year. From March to June in California, asparagus harvest reaches its peak. After just one warm night, shoots can grow an additional 5 to 7 centimeters, forcing farmers to track them hour by hour. They bend low, slide long blades deep to the base, and make a clean, precise cut to preserve tenderness and crispness, because even a delay of a few hours can cause the stalk to toughen and lose its value. But here a paradox emerges. Despite its rapid growth, green asparagus remains a relatively common vegetable with modest value. And then, a single factor changes the entire game: light. From the same plant variety, white asparagus is harvested in a completely different world. Long rows stretching hundreds of meters are covered with black plastic sheets, keeping the young shoots buried beneath the soil in complete darkness. When harvesting begins, specialized machines move along the rows at speeds of about 3 to 5 kilometers per hour, lifting the covers and processing the soil section by section. Sensor systems precisely locate the hidden shoots below, guiding blades down to the exact base and cutting them in conditions where direct visibility is nearly non-existent. In Europe, especially in Germany and France, white asparagus was once called white gold, priced 2 to 3 times higher than green asparagus, and at times even placed alongside caviar on the tables of the aristocracy. After harvesting, asparagus is transported to pre-processing facilities within 2 to 4 hours to minimize moisture loss and preserve its natural crispness. At the facility, the spears pass through high-pressure washing systems to remove soil and debris, then move on to automated sorting lines where optical sensors classify them by diameter and length. For white asparagus, the outer layer is typically peeled thinly to ensure a consistently tender texture. Finally, the product is rapidly cooled to around 2 to 40 Celsius, sealed in packaging, and placed into a continuous cold chain, ready for export or distribution to high-end markets. As one of the most characteristic crops of the spring-summer season, peas have not only helped reshape humanity's protein intake for centuries, but also generate a global economic value of over $36 billion each year. Around late May, as temperate climates shift from the end of spring into early summer, pea fields across France enter peak harvest. Unlike manual picking row by row, industrial pea harvesting is essentially a mobile processing line operating directly in the field. As the pea viner moves forward at around 5 kilometers per hour, its low-mounted intake gently gathers entire plants into the machine. Within seconds, high-speed threshing drums begin separating pods from stems, while multi-stage vibrating screens immediately return leaves and vines back to the field, retaining a nearly pure stream of clean green peas. Inside the machine, enclosed conveyors continue operating at capacities of up to 100 to 200 tons of plants per hour, lifting the peas into onboard storage before transferring them directly into trucks moving alongside. The entire process unfolds at such an urgent pace that freezing facilities almost have to wait for the fields, because within just 1 to 2 hours after harvest, the peas must enter processing lines to preserve their natural sweetness, which begins to decline the moment they are detached from the plant. In modern facilities, the entire bean processing workflow is almost fully automated. Upon arrival, the beans pass through multi-stage washing systems using recirculated cold water, combined with vortex flows or rotating drums, to remove soil, sand, and impurities without damaging the beans. Next, they move across vibrating screens and are sorted using optical sensors, which eliminate empty, damaged, or foreign materials. The qualified stream is then rapidly blanched at 90 to 95 degrees for several dozen seconds, followed by immediate cooling before entering IQF freezing. Finally, the beans are sealed in packaging and transferred into a continuous cold chain. During World War II, the British government issued urgent warnings after many people accidentally consumed toxic rhubarb leaves during periods of food shortage. Yet, on the very same plant, the stalks carry a sharp, refreshing tartness, distinct enough to turn rhubarb into one of the most sought-after dessert ingredients in Europe every summer. From March to May, when rhubarb plants rise to about 40 to 60 centimeters above soil that often remains below 10 degrees Celsius, the harvest season officially begins, so early that in many temperate regions, it is considered the first true signal that spring has returned. Harvesters do not start with knives. Instead, they gently twist and pull each stalk from the base, allowing the plant to regenerate through multiple cycles within the same season, a traditional technique that has endured for centuries. The toxic leaves are then carefully removed right in the field, leaving behind crisp red stalks with a clean tart flavor, the most valuable part of the plant. In the Yorkshire rhubarb triangle, rhubarb is not harvested under sunlight, but in near total darkness inside forcing sheds. Even a few minutes of strong light can toughen the stalks and reduce their natural sweetness. Few crops in the world must be harvested in darkness to preserve their flavor, making each rhubarb season here feel more like an agricultural ritual than a conventional harvest. Rhubarb is already on the table, and strawberries are an essential pairing, a classic duo in Western cuisine, especially in the UK, France, and North America. And right as rhubarb enters its harvest season, strawberry fields burst into full ripeness, triggering an urgent race to pick them at peak sweetness before they begin to deteriorate just hours after being removed from the plant. Despite the deep reach of mechanization in modern agriculture, over 90% of the world's strawberries are still harvested entirely by hand. On California farms during peak season, hundreds of workers move steadily along the rows, bent low for hours in a near-synchronized rhythm. Each berry is handled with precision, gently holding the stem, twisting the wrist to detach it without tearing the flesh, then placing it immediately into shallow trays to avoid bruising. Harvesters must quickly assess color and firmness to select fruit at the optimal stage, since strawberries barely continue to ripen after being picked. As soon as they leave the field, the berries are sent straight to collection points, where solar-powered canopies supply energy for cooling fans that rapidly bring temperatures down to around 10 to 15 degrees Celsius. From there, they enter the cold chain within just 1 to 2 hours to preserve freshness and natural flavor. Within hours of harvest, trays of dew-kissed red strawberries move into high-pressure washing lines and slide into high-speed processing systems, where they are swiftly transformed into thick strawberry jam, IQF frozen berries, and countless products that appear on the tables of millions every day. A short journey that ultimately defines the entire value of the harvest. Once considered a dangerous food in 16th century Europe, believed to cause emotional disturbances, artichokes have since become one of the most nutrient-rich vegetables of the Mediterranean region. In their growth cycle, artichokes can be cultivated year-round in cool climates, but the spring-summer season is the most critical for yield, when plants grow vigorously and buds reach their highest uniformity. In contrast, winter's low temperatures slow development, forcing growers to trade off between quantity and quality. California, which supplies about 99% of the United States' commercial artichoke production, sees its harvest begin in late February, accelerate through March to May, and continue intermittently until around August. What makes artichokes unique is how they're harvested. Instead of mechanization, workers carry a roughly 20-kilogram bag on their backs, move along straight rows, and use a precise wrist-twisting motion to snap the bud at the stem's natural breaking point, cleanly removing the harvest while leaving the plant intact to support subsequent buds. Although most artichokes are still picked by hand, some farms have begun testing harvesting machines. These systems use cameras to identify mature buds, then deploy gripping arms to position on the stem and apply a gentle twisting motion to detach the bud directly from the plant. Despite this level of innovation, the technology has yet to see widespread adoption, largely because artichoke buds do not ripen uniformly, and even the slightest surface damage can significantly reduce their market value. At the processing facility, artichokes are washed under high-pressure water to remove soil and debris, then trimmed and stripped of their tougher outer leaves. The tender core is handled quickly to prevent oxidation before moving through blanching, cooling, and finally either canning or freezing for long-term preservation. For many crops, the spring-summer season may be just one of several harvest windows. But for tomatoes, it's the true red-golden season, when this period alone can account for up to 70% of the annual yield, delivering a flavor that is richer, sweeter, and more balanced than at any other time of year. As the machine enters the rows, its front conveyor lowers and slides neatly beneath the canopy to lift entire clusters, while a precisely calibrated shaking system allows ripe fruits to detach naturally from the stems without losing their firmness. At the rear, a strong yet carefully controlled airflow removes leaves and damaged fruits, leaving a continuous stream of red tomatoes with a capacity of up to 15 tons per hour. But in open field cultivation, tomatoes face a major challenge. They tend to ripen in waves rather than uniformly, are highly prone to bruising, and remain heavily dependent on weather conditions. That's where robots come in. On modern farms focused on quality instead of mass cutting, advanced harvesting systems use high-resolution cameras to continuously scan each row, analyzing color and ripeness in real time. Robotic arms move to precisely identified points, approaching each fruit with carefully controlled gripping force, gentle enough to avoid even the slightest surface deformation. Each tomato is individually selected, detached from the stem, and placed onto the conveyor in what feels like an almost invisible motion. Regardless of the harvesting method, every batch of tomatoes is immediately transported to processing facilities, where they are cleaned and transformed into countless staple products of the global food industry. Unlike original maize varieties, sweet corn is actually the result of a genetic mutation that appeared by chance more than 1,000 years ago in the Americas. From what was once a biological accident, it has grown into one of the defining crops of the spring-summer season, generating nearly $9 billion each year. In Wisconsin, the sweet corn harvest typically begins right at the milk stage, when each kernel is still soft, juicy, and packed with its highest natural sugar content. At the front of the field, the harvester's intake lowers close to the stalks, lifting entire rows into a specialized snapping unit. Within seconds, the ears are cleanly detached from the plants while retaining their protective husks, then carried continuously onto rear conveyors at a capacity of around 10 to 20 tons per hour. From there, they are discharged straight into transport trucks, forming a fully integrated harvesting chain right in the middle of the field. Speed is critical because within just hours after being picked, the sugars inside the kernels begin converting into starch. That's why, upon arrival at the processing facility, the corn immediately passes through high-speed rubber rollers that strip away husks and silks in seconds, before entering production lines for frozen corn, corn soup, canned products, and a wide range of convenient foods found on tables around the world. In late-season apple orchards, when the trees stand nearly bare, and only thousands of fruits remain densely hanging from the branches, it is not a sign of neglect, but the true peak of the harvest. These apples are deliberately left on the tree longer, to reach full maturity, allowing sugar levels to rise to around 16 degrees Brix, significantly higher than early harvests, and enough to determine their entire value in processing. The tree has largely stopped producing leaves, and redirects all the energy accumulated throughout the season into the fruit. The result is not only a deeper sweetness, but also maximum size and weight, pushing yields to around 60 tons per hectare. In industrial agriculture, this is no longer about appearance. It becomes a calculation of how much sugar can be extracted per square meter of land. That is why these apples rarely appear on premium fresh fruit shelves. Left too long, they lose their crispness, their skin becomes less perfect, and they bruise more easily. But in return, they offer what truly matters: high and stable sugar content. This is also why most of the harvest is directed straight into processing: juice, cider, or vinegar, where flavor is defined by intensity, not appearance. The entire orchard is typically harvested within a short window of 2 to 3 weeks, when all fruits reach their optimal state. Apples are either hand-picked or mechanically shaken down, then quickly transported into processing lines before the sugars begin to degrade. With nearly 50% healthy fats and a substantial amount of protein, pistachios, often seen as a premium snack, are in fact a concentrated source of energy that once sustained entire civilizations across the arid regions of the Middle East for thousands of years. Each year, the world produces over 1 million tons of pistachios, mainly from the United States, Iran, and Turkey. The harvest season runs from August to October, when the outer hull turns pink and naturally splits, a clear sign of full ripeness. On large farms in California, high-powered shaker machines can strip a tree in seconds, allowing tens of tons to be collected in a single day. But speed is critical. Within 24 hours, the soft outer hull must be removed to prevent fermentation. The nuts are then washed, sorted, and dried. Unlike many other nuts, fresh pistachios are more perishable, closer to a fresh fruit with a hard shell than a long-lasting dry nut. Once processed, pistachios develop their signature crunch with a light buttery flavor and a subtle natural sweetness. And it is precisely this balance that makes them the soul of baklava, where finely ground pistachios are layered between dozens of thin sheets of dough, then baked with butter and honey to create a crisp, deeply sweet, and energy-rich dessert that has endured for centuries. There is a rather unusual industry that rarely gets mentioned, yet quietly weaves itself into how humans care for and restore the body. Snail farming, where a slow-moving creature that seems almost worthless actually supports a market worth over $4 billion USD, spanning from Europe to North Africa. On these farms, snails don't live randomly, but within a tightly controlled micro-ecosystem. Humidity is maintained at 80 to 90%, enough to keep their mucus from drying out, because even a few hours of dryness can cause them to stop feeding and retract to conserve moisture. The ground is covered with soft leafy greens that serve as both food and natural shade, while shelter strips, spaced about 40 centimeters apart, help stabilize humidity and keep snails concentrated in their optimal growth zones. Once released, snails spend almost their entire lives feeding. With a stable food supply, a single snail can increase its body weight several times within just a few weeks. Toward the end of the cycle, they naturally cluster beneath shelters, a survival instinct to avoid dehydration and enter a resting state, allowing harvesting to be quick and efficient. After harvest, their value shifts from food to biotechnology. The snails are placed in controlled environments where gentle stimuli, such as vibration or changes in humidity, trigger mucus secretion without causing harm. This secretion is then filtered and refined into a bioactive-rich extract containing compounds like allantoin, glycoproteins, and natural collagen, substances known for their ability to hydrate, repair tissue, and stimulate skin regeneration. When it comes to royal jelly, if you're unfamiliar with it, it's surprisingly hard to picture what it actually is. In reality, it is a nutrient-rich secretion produced by young worker bees to feed queen larvae, sold at prices up to 30 times higher than honey due to its highly concentrated bioactive protein content. To produce it, beekeepers must maintain a strong colony of 30,000 to 60,000 bees, because only young workers within a brief stage of their life can secrete this substance. Larvae less than 24 hours old are placed into artificial queen cells to trigger the queen rearing response. Once returned to the hive, worker bees immediately begin depositing royal jelly into each cell, turning every small chamber into a concentrated nutrient reservoir. Within just 48 to 72 hours, the jelly reaches its peak, the only window for harvest. Any delay, and the larvae will consume most of it. This is why the process demands precision, removing larvae, extracting the jelly, and preserving it immediately, as even a few minutes of air exposure or temperature fluctuation can begin to degrade its quality. Behind a single spoonful of royal jelly lies a tightly controlled biological system, where output is extremely limited, but value is pushed to one of the highest levels found in the natural world. To harvest the first commercial tulip bulbs, Dutch farmers must wait about 5 to 7 years of propagation. During that time, each spring when the fields are at their most spectacular, all flowers above ground are cut off in a controlled process using topper machines. This precise flower cutting stops seed formation, redirecting all energy from photosynthesis into developing the bulb below. By early summer, once the leaves have completely withered, the real harvest begins. High-capacity digging machines lift soil layers up to 20 centimeters deep, while built-in vibrating systems separate soil and debris directly in the field at rates of up to 10 tons per hour, bringing standardized bulbs to the surface for the next planting cycle. Afterward, the bulbs are cleaned and automatically sorted, selecting only those meeting commercial standards, typically 10 to 12 centimeters in size, uniform in quality and growth potential. Ready for global export with digital traceability down to each square meter of cultivation. Do you know what makes Bulgarian rose oil one of the most expensive perfume ingredients in the world? Its journey begins in Kazanlak, Bulgaria, that produces around 60 to 70% of the world's premium natural rose oil. Here, roses are not machine harvested, but picked entirely by hand before sunrise. Workers don't simply pluck the flowers, they must snap them precisely at the base of the calyx, where the highest concentration of oil glands is located. If the stem is bent too deep or the petals are bruised, the microscopic oil sacs can rupture and oxidize before distillation even begins. To produce just 1 kilogram of Bulgarian rose oil, it takes up to 5 tons of fresh petals, sometimes an entire field harvested just to yield a few drops of this precious essence. Once picked, the flowers must be transported to the distillery within 2 to 4 hours. There, they are immediately loaded into copper stills, where heat is distributed evenly without degrading the delicate aromatic compounds, the first step in preserving the fragile scent that existed only hours earlier in the field. Low-pressure steam is then passed through the mass of fresh petals, breaking the tiny oil glands and carrying the aromatic molecules into a cooling system. After condensation, the mixture naturally separates. The pure essential oil, lighter, rises to the top, while rose water settles below. Compared to regular rose water, Bulgarian rose oil can cost dozens of times more, and in poor harvest years, it has even exceeded the price of gold by weight. Yet what makes it truly extraordinary is its potency. At just 0.02 to 0.05% concentration, a single drop can define the entire scent profile of hundreds of high-end perfume bottles. Known as one of the most adaptable mushrooms in the world, oyster mushrooms can grow on over 200 different materials, even breaking down plastics and petroleum. Yet few realize that this small fungus is helping drive a global edible mushroom industry worth more than $60 billion USD, becoming a strategic food source worldwide. Growing oyster mushrooms doesn't begin with soil, but with sawdust, a wood byproduct once considered waste. After being thoroughly mixed to achieve the right moisture and structure, the substrate is packed into bags weighing around 1 to 2 kilograms and compressed at optimal density, creating a stable foundation for rapid mycelium growth from the very beginning. Once sealed, each 1 to 2 kilograms bag is essentially a high-risk microbial battleground. To eliminate mold and contaminants, they must undergo pasteurization at 60 to 100 degrees Celsius for several hours. When the substrate cools to a safe level, growers inoculate 2 to 5% spawn into the neck of each bag. From this tiny starting point, within just 10 to 15 days, the mycelium spreads throughout the entire bag, forming a dense network like a miniature biological internet. As soon as the substrate is fully colonized, the first mushroom clusters begin to emerge at the bag's opening. Beyond the familiar white oyster mushrooms, growers also cultivate vibrant varieties in pink, yellow, and blue. During harvest, growers don't cut individual mushrooms. Instead, they gently twist and remove the entire cluster from the bag. This method cleanly removes the base, minimizing leftover organic matter that could decay, cause contamination, and slow future growth cycles. At the same time, preserving the structure of the bag's opening protects the internal mycelial network, allowing it to recover quickly and trigger the next wave of growth. If truffle is known as the black diamond hidden beneath the soils of European cuisine, hunted with trained dogs in damp oak forests, then Cordyceps is the living gold of the harsh Himalaya highlands, with prices reaching up to 100,000 USD per kilogram. Unlike any ordinary mushroom, Cordyceps is a parasitic fungus that infects insect larvae. Its spores invade caterpillars, grow silently inside their bodies for months beneath frozen soil, and then, in spring, emerge above the surface like a new sprout of life. This half-animal, half-plant life cycle makes each specimen almost unique. To naturally produce just 1 kilogram, it requires around 3,000 to 5,000 infected larvae, making it extremely rare. This is what turns the search for Cordyceps into a multi-day hunt across snow-covered slopes at elevations of over 3,500 meters, where oxygen levels drop to just 50 to 60%, and temperatures can fall below -10 degrees Celsius, even during harvest season. Hunters often have to kneel or crawl close to the ground, scanning patches of dry grass to spot the thin, dark brown tip of the fungus, no thicker than a toothpick, barely rising a few centimeters above the soil. Experienced collectors do not rely on luck, but on reading the land itself. They study the color of grass, soil texture, and moisture after snowmelt, favoring sunlit slopes where ice melts slowly. Ideal conditions for growth. Sometimes, even subtle cracks in the ground or the structure of dried grass can reveal what lies hidden beneath. Its value lies not only in its rarity, but in how it fuels the human body. Inside is a concentrated complex of bioactive compounds, proteins, amino acids, and essential minerals, like compressing multiple vital nutrients into a single, tiny organism. In many Himalayan regions, this small fungus sustains entire mountain communities. Yet at the same time, its immense value has also made it a source of competition and conflict among harvesters. In North Carolina, the largest tobacco-growing region in the United States, the days of dozens of workers bending over to cut each leaf by hand are long gone. Now, a single dicloate harvester rolling through the field sets the entire crop in motion with mechanical precision. One machine can maneuver smoothly between two dense rows while operating with accuracy down to each individual leaf. At the front, hydraulic pressure sensing clamps automatically detect the leaf's ripeness and softness, gently detaching it from the stem without even shaking the plant. Inside, a variable pressure airflow system works in tandem with a dual dust filtration chamber, continuously cleaning and pre-sorting the harvest. The result: each leaf remains golden, intact, and perfectly moist, ready for the signature flue curing process that defines premium tobacco. This technology not only cuts labor costs by more than 60%, but also ensures that every leaf is uniform, clean, and export grade, proving that mechanization doesn't just replace human labor, it elevates the quality and precision of the entire industry. In the United States, the seaweed harvest season begins when the underwater kelp forests turn a deep amber brown, the sign that the blades have thickened and reached peak nutritional value. Spring comes alive as flat-deck, low-hulled boats equipped with hydraulic winches and specialized spool rollers set out across the cold Atlantic. Upon reaching the cultivation lines, workers secure their gear to the main polypropylene rope, the backbone of the sea farm, suspended about 1 meter below the surface, where the kelp absorbs maximum sunlight without getting sunburned. With a single pull of the hydraulic lever, the spools begin to rotate, hauling up hundreds of meters of golden brown kelp onto the deck. From that moment, it becomes a race against time. Each frond must be cleaned, chilled, and transported ashore within 6 hours, before oxidation darkens the blades, softens their texture, and robs them of their premium commercial value. The prickly pear cactus, a proud symbol of Mexico's semi-arid landscapes, is a master of drought survival, yet also among the most challenging fruits to harvest on Earth. By late summer, when the fruit turns a brilliant orange-red and the spines begin to dry and stiffen, pickers must don thick jackets, heavy gloves, and full-face coverings to collect the sweetest fruit before the skins split or birds claim them first. The golden window for harvesting lasts only 4 to 6 weeks, but each fruit bristles with hundreds of tiny barbed spines, called glochids, capable of piercing gloves and severely irritating the skin. For that reason, harvesters use long metal tongs to snip each stem without ever touching the surface, careful not to bruise the delicate skin or release the milky sap that can dehydrate the plant and damage its tissue, preventing it from bearing fruit in the next season. Even a single cassava root can be dangerous if not harvested properly. When a hoe or blade cuts into the outer layer containing cyanogenic glycosides, the sap can release hydrocyanic acid, a toxin capable of causing poisoning within minutes. Despite the risk, manual harvesting is still common on small farms. Farmers rely on experience to judge ripeness, then use a machete or hand axe to cut around the base and pull each root carefully, avoiding cracks that cause oxidation and reduce quality. But the process is slow and exhausting. Cassava has woody stems and deep, clinging roots, demanding strength and precision. Heavy reliance on manual labor keeps costs high and yields low, making large-scale production a constant struggle between human effort and the soil itself. In regions of intensive cultivation, like Thailand, which supplies more than 30 million tons of cassava roots each year, the harvest process has been almost completely automated. Modern cassava harvesters can cut stems, dig roots, and collect the tubers in a single pass. Thanks to depth sensors and self-adjusting hydraulic systems, the machines lift the roots intact, without rupturing the cyanide-bearing sap layer, boosting productivity to 2 to 3 tons per hour. Though the initial investment is high, the speed, safety, and superior efficiency of these machines have made them the key to turning cassava into a strategic global crop for starch, ethanol, and food production. After nearly 10 months underground, when the stalks and leaves turn yellow and a faint spicy scent drifts through the air, Shandong Province, China's largest ginger-growing region, enters its busiest season of the year. Because ginger roots branch in complex clusters, farmers use small hand hoes to loosen the soil around each plant, carefully cutting in a circle around the rhizome to avoid breaking any offshoots. Once lifted from the earth, the clumps are shaken clean and neatly stacked in the shade to retain moisture and prevent dehydration. From there, trucks loaded with hundreds of tons of fresh ginger line up and roll out of the fields, carrying not just a crop, but the livelihood of tens of thousands of Shandong farmers who have dedicated their lives to this remarkable root. New Holland broad harvesters are designed specifically for vine crops with delicate berry-like fruit, adaptable simply by changing the shaking head and collection trays. With a high clearance frame and an open working bay, these machines can weave effortlessly through perfectly aligned vineyard rows, even maintaining stability on steep slopes. Instead of cutting, the harvester vibrates at 400 to 500 cycles per minute, powered by a 175 horsepower engine, strong enough to detach each ripe grape from its stem, yet gentle enough to preserve the thin skin intact. Inside, soft roller conveyors and variable pressure air blowers act as a living filtration system, removing leaves, stems, and dust without bruising the fruit. A single unit can harvest over 20 tons of grapes per hour, the equivalent of 40 manual pickers. This mechanization embodies the power of speed and scale, a complete opposite of hand-picking, yet forms the backbone of global production for everyday wines and industrial-grade juice. But for premium grape varieties destined for fine wine production and fresh export, harvesting must still be done entirely by hand. In California, when the grape clusters turn a deep violet hue and become coated with a natural powdery bloom, hundreds of workers spread across the vineyards, armed with small, razor-sharp shears to cut each bunch with precision. Once detached from the vine, every cluster is inspected for skin integrity and potential spoilage before being gently placed into shallow, padded trays to prevent bruising. Thanks to this meticulous care, California continues to produce over 6 million tons of fresh grapes each year, forming the backbone of both its premium wine industry and the global market for high-quality table grapes. Lychee is one of the most delicate fruits to harvest. Delay the picking by just 2 or 3 days, and the skin darkens while the flesh softens as respiration rapidly increases. That's why, when the peel shifts from green to red, growers in the southern orchards must begin picking immediately. In their hands, a small pruning shear becomes an essential tool, sharp enough to cut through semi-woody branches, yet precise enough not to bruise the stem. Each cluster must also be harvested according to export standards, keeping a 2-inch stem to reduce moisture loss, prevent bruising, and maintain the fruit's vibrant red color during long-distance transport. A bountiful lychee season brings not only the heat and energy of the tropics, but also the rhythm of a thriving trade. Thousands of motorbikes loaded with fresh lychees stream toward wholesale markets, fueling an industry projected to surpass $9 billion within the next 3 years. Every year, around 6,000 combine harvesters are sold across the United States to serve small seed crops such as sesame, sunflower, and soybeans. Originally designed for taller plants about 1 to 1.5 meters high, these machines must be extensively recalibrated when used for sesame, a much shorter, more fragile crop with pods that shatter easily. During this adjustment, the drum speed is reduced, the airflow softened, and the sieve trays padded, allowing the machine to gently separate the seeds instead of striking them. Thanks to this precision tuning, the harvester can collect nearly every sesame seed without cracking or oil loss, preserving the crop's natural oil content, the very element that gives sesame its high value in the global food and vegetable oil industries. Which fruit harvest impresses you the most? For me, it has to be the durian, often regarded as the hardest fruit in the world to harvest. On trees towering 10 to 15 meters high, pickers must climb skillfully through dense branches to reach each spiky fruit weighing up to 5 kilograms. Before cutting, they tap the shell with the handle of a knife. The sound, whether dull or deep, reveals its ripeness. Some even smell the stem, observe the color of the spikes, or feel the cracks around the stalk. Skills that take 3 to 5 years of experience to master. Once ripe, the picker cuts the stem and drops the fruit, while a partner below holds out a large jute sack to catch it. The sack isn't fully sealed. Its rough, breathable fibers allow the spikes to grip lightly, slowing the fall. Air escapes through the woven gaps, softening the impact and almost eliminating the force of the drop, ensuring the fruit lands safely without cracking or bruising. This method is fast and efficient, preserving the natural ripeness and aroma of the fruit. Yet it demands absolute precision and teamwork. A single mistake can send the durian crashing down, destroying it and endangering the catcher's life. It is precisely this delicate harvesting technique, combined with the fruit's high nutritional value hidden beneath its infamous scent, that makes the durian one of the most prized and extraordinary fruits of the tropics. Though it doesn't bring in massive profits like Brussels sprouts, the red radish remains a key player in the work calendar of California farmers. With just 30 days from sowing to harvest, they can quickly rotate their fields for the next crop. When harvest season arrives, each worker hand pulls the radishes, selects those meeting the standard 2-3 centimeter size, and ties them into bunches with twine to sell fresh. Afterwards, they carry heavy baskets filled with radishes to the trucks, which deliver them directly to farmers' markets across California. Inside the modern greenhouse, the red radish harvest is almost fully automated. The specialized machine moves slowly between perfectly aligned rows, using an optical sensor system and parallel grippers to lift clusters of radishes that meet the ideal size, each one handled within seconds. Once more than 10 roots are collected, the auto-bundling unit tightens a nylon band, forming neat, uniform bunches as if measured by machine. The system can process up to 1 ton of radishes per hour, reducing manual labor by more than 80%. Workers only need to place the finished bundles onto trays and move them to the washing and packaging area. In just a few minutes, hundreds of bright red, glossy, freshly harvested radish bunches are ready to leave the greenhouse. In the past, Maple sap was collected in buckets hung directly on tree trunks. That method worked fine for a few dozen trees. But in Vermont, where more than 460,000 maple trees are tapped each year, everything had to evolve. From February to April, when warm days and freezing nights cause the sap to flow, workers drill small holes about 2 inches deep into the trunks. Each hole is placed around waist height or slightly above and shifted every year, allowing the trees to heal naturally, meaning a single maple can be tapped for decades without harm. Instead of dripping into buckets, the sap now runs through a network of tubing, stretching for tens of kilometers across the forest. Acting like an artificial circulatory system, small lines draw sap from each tree. Larger ones channel it to a central collection station, and vacuum pumps keep the flow steady, cutting manual labor by up to 80%. Because the tubing system is sealed, the sap never touches air, preserving its natural purity before it's filtered and boiled down into amber maple syrup, the sweet golden icon of North America, with grade A batches fetching as much as $250 per gallon. Highbush blueberry, the variety that makes up around 80% of the world's blueberry acreage and yield, is celebrated for its synchronized fruiting, making it ideal for large-scale mechanical harvesting. Every June, farmers bring out the Oxbow 7440, a true steel giant of the fields. From a distance, the machine resembles a mobile fortress. Its tunnel frame design allows the entire body to pass directly over tall rows of blueberry bushes without pruning or clearing space. Inside, a dual-shaft shaking system reads the plant's density and fruit ripeness, then automatically adjusts vibration frequency to maximize harvest efficiency while minimizing bruising. Thanks to its top-loader system with a capacity of up to 400 kilograms per bin, the machine can run continuously for hours without stopping to unload. A crucial advantage for large farms aiming to push productivity to the limit. Across the wild lowbush blueberry fields of Maine, the grasshopper lowbush harvester stands out as a machine engineered specifically for this unique variety. Plants that grow no taller than an adult's knee, spreading close to the ground in dense, sprawling mats. At the front of the harvester, a mechanical comb assembly with dozens of fine steel tines is precisely calibrated to graze just the top layer of the blueberry bushes, where the ripest fruit is most abundant. A manual adjustment system allows the operator to fine-tune the comb's depth and angle to match the terrain, ensuring the tines sweep only the upper canopy. This prevents root damage or fruit bruising while preserving the lower layer of foliage for the next season's growth. This machine is a perfect example of how technology doesn't just help humans harvest sweetness, but also protects the living legacy of North America's oldest wild blueberry landscapes. Do you think wasabi belongs only to Japan? The truth is, even in North America, where the temperature swings far beyond the ideal 8 to 18 degrees Celsius, farmers have learned to grow and harvest wasabi year-round inside greenhouses that precisely control heat, humidity, and water flow. Gone are the days of farmers wading through icy streams like in Shizuoka. In these modern facilities, wasabi is cultivated on dry gravel beds with a top-down drip irrigation system that keeps the roots cool while minimizing fungal disease. When harvest time comes, workers use small shovels to loosen the base, lift each plant carefully, shake off the gravel, and trim away the leaves and excess roots. Finally, the rhizomes are rinsed gently with low-pressure water to preserve their thin, aromatic skin, the very layer responsible for wasabi's signature sharp, nose-tingling heat. Although its flavor is milder than that of Japan's mineral-rich stream-grown wasabi, the greenhouse model offers major advantages: lower root rot rates, consistent freshness, and uniform quality during long-distance transport, making it an ideal solution for premium markets in Europe and North America. The modern cotton harvester is transforming the fields, helping farmers cut costs by up to 8% through full on-field process optimization. At the front, a synchronized array of rotating drums works on a suction and brush mechanism that gently separates the cotton from its boll without damaging the delicate fibers. The harvested cotton is then carried through a central pneumatic system, where dry leaves and debris are filtered out, leaving behind only pure, fluffy white lint. But the machine's most impressive feature is its automatic module builder. Instead of relying on a separate compactor, the system presses, wraps, and ejects each dense cotton roll, all while the harvester keeps moving. This continuous process not only eliminates intermediate handling, but also reduces fuel consumption by nearly 20% compared to older models, marking a major step forward in efficiency and sustainability for modern cotton farming.